What's up, everybody? I'm Desola from Edmunds. You know, when it comes to mid-size trucks, this Toyota Tacoma and that Ford Ranger are two must-see pickups for any used car shopper. But how do you choose between them? We're gonna check them both out today and see which one comes out on top. At Edmunds, we painstakingly test and review hundreds and hundreds of cars every single year, while CarMax experts appraise, buy, and sell thousands and thousands of them. So we thought, hey, why don't we combine our car testing knowledge with CarMax's experience to help you make the right choice on your next truck? But before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe for more CarMax videos. And for a detailed comparison between these two trucks, click the link in the description for an in-depth article. There's trucks like the Toyota Tundra and the Ford F-150, and then there's these. The Tacoma and the Ranger are one size smaller, and they offer less overall capability. But hold on real quick. They're still really hardworking trucks. So they're good for somebody who's looking for something tough at a much smaller, more affordable package. First up is the Tacoma. This is part of the third generation, which debuted in 2016 with some updates made in 2020. This one is a 2021. There's loads of trims and two engines to choose from. This one's rugged in size and in angles. CarMax sells Tacomas for about $40,000, depending on things like trim level, mileage, options, and other factors. You should also get to know the Ranger. This is the 2020 model year, which was part of the fourth generation that debuted in 2019 in the US. I say in the US because this Ranger has been in production in other countries for several years. Ford tried to make this truck modern for North America. Its turbocharged engine comes standard with a 10-speed transmission and lots of tech and driver aids. CarMax sells Ford Ranger for an average of around $35,000, and again, that's all depending on trim level, mileage, options, and other factors. All right, guys, so now we're sitting in the Tacoma, and it immediately makes an impression. Is it a good impression? That's up to you to decide. So one thing you'll notice is that it has a really tall step-in height, which can be, just awkward for a lot of people, but it is a taller truck. And the seats used to have a really legs out type of feel, but in 2020, the Tacoma got these 10-way power adjustable seats, which should make it a lot more comfortable for you, but I suggest that you try them out first. So the steering wheel doesn't adjust as much as we prefer it to. I feel like it should be able to telescope out more for taller drivers who sit further back like me. But other than that, it has pretty nice visibility. Now, don't expect luxury, but you should expect usability in here. The controls are nice and big, and they're all really easy to use. The Tacoma is good at being comfortable with having strong materials inside. So if you're somebody who's looking to class it up a bit, look out for the limited trim. You'll get some leather seats, a sunroof, and a whole lot more. So when it comes to the infotainment system, you get a 7-inch screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard, or you can get an 8-inch screen like we have in here in the SR5 trim and up. You also get 3 USB ports, and let me tell you guys something, you can never have enough USB ports. Our editors are into it, and they think that it has nice graphics and good responses, but personally, I think that it looks dated. But hey, if you're into it, make sure to look for a 2020 model and above to get the updated system. So the navigation also works really great, and it comes as an option on most trims. Look for the dynamic navigation package. It does, however, come standard on the Limited and the TRD Pro. Driver aids is another area where the Tacoma pays special attention. Starting in 2020, all trims came with a suite of driver assist features that includes forward collision mitigation, lane departure warning, and adaptive cruise control. Yes, standard. On top of that, look for the technology package to get a blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic alert, or the advanced technology package for a 360-degree camera view. All right, you guys, enough about the Tacoma. Let's go check out the Ranger. So what about the Ranger? Well, on the plus side, its step-in height is lower than the Tacomas, and then these seats, they're really good. They offer an excellent view, and they're really adjustable. It's just a nice contrast to the Tacoma. Speaking of the seats, big or tall, you're gonna be comfortable. The only downside is that they're really upright. Some other complaints that we had is that the buttons are in some weird places and they're small and hard to find. We're also not really big on the way that the interior looks in here. It just feels really outdated and there's hard plastics everywhere. You have to keep in mind, this truck has been in production overseas for many years, so maybe that explains the odd button placement and how dated it feels. Anyways, you can jump up to the Lariat trim if you want leather seats, but honestly, we don't think they're anything to write home about, so just stick with the XLT. In the base XL, you get a tiny screen. Look for the XLT or the Lariat to get an even bigger 8-inch touchscreen like we have in here. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard on those models. They use the Sync 3 operating system, and it works pretty well, but of course, like anything, it's not perfect. So to make it easier, use the voice controls on the steering wheel for things like navigation and radio controls. Ford also packs the Ranger with driver aids. They're packaged in a suite called Copilot 360. It comes with lane keeping assist and blind spot monitoring. You can get adaptive cruise control, but you need to find a Ranger with the technology package. Now on the bright side, it does work really nicely. Okay, it's time to drive. Let's see how these two trucks stack up on the road. So on the Ranger, there's only one engine option, and it's a great option. You get a 2.3-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it has a lot of power. It also has a 10-speed automatic transmission, and the thing is, we actually really like that transmission on most Ford products, but for whatever reason in here, it's just sluggish and it's really slow to downshift. So it could be a little annoying. But let me tell you something, this baby can move. Woo! Oh man, come on Ranger. You see, it makes up for it. It makes up for that slow downshift. It went from 0 to 60 in 6.8 seconds in our Edmunds testing, and that's really good for a midsize truck. So now that we told you about the things we like about it, here's a few things we don't like, starting off with the steering. It just feels really numb and very loose. You know, you don't really get the response that you're looking for. So for example, if you're making a half turn, it feels like you're only getting a quarter of a turn. And it seems like you have to work a lot harder than you feel like you should have to. During our testing, the Ranger had a stopping distance of 138 feet, which is a lot longer than some of its competition. And stopping power is definitely something that you want and need, especially when you're towing. I mean, you guys know, physics doesn't play. Finally, the suspension it doesn't feel like it's up to modern day standards, you know? It reminds me of an old Buick. You guys know how those old Buicks used to bounce around? That's what it feels like. And another thing about the Ranger is that it really doesn't like to take corners fast. It gives you a lot of body roll, and I'm over here like, look, the only body roll I want is when I'm dancing. Trucks are moving away from being workhorses and are becoming more comfortable everyday drivers, and you can just tell that this Ranger hasn't gotten there yet. In the Tacoma, a 4-cylinder engine actually comes standard in the lower trims, but if you want, you can opt for a bigger 3.5-liter V6 that actually comes standard in all the higher trims, like the truck I'm driving right now. So most of the trucks are going to come with a 6-speed automatic transmission, and the combo of that V6 and the 6-speed just offer a great amount of power. It's still enough for everyday driving and enough power for all of you who love towing. When it comes to handling, the Tacoma is actually pleasant and predictable, which I really like. Steering feels smooth, even though you do get a bit of body roll when you're going around corners, but believe me, you guys, it's nothing like the Ranger. Now, the biggest weakness of the Tacoma is definitely the brakes. When you step on them, there's a point where they become too grabby and they bring the truck to an abrupt stop. And I'm telling you, it'll make you say, hold on, Tacoma. It'll wake you up. But the Tacoma really shows what it can do when you take this baby off the pavement. Seriously, especially in the TRD off-road like this one. Ground clearance and suspension go a long way, literally. At their core, trucks are still meant for work. In the Tacoma, you get a 5.1-foot bed, but you can get a 6-foot bed also if you want. Another thing that's really cool about it is that a composite bed comes standard, so you don't have to spend extra money to get a protective bed liner. Another thing that we like is that it's really easy to reach on over and get what you need. You can just tell that in the Ranger it's higher and it's just not as easy. Some versions of the Tacoma have a maximum payload capacity of up to 1,685 pounds, but versions like this Crew Cab V6 have a little more than 1,100 pounds. Max towing capacity can be up to 6,800 pounds in some trims, and this one right here is around 6,400. The best EPA rated estimate that you're gonna get is 21 miles per gallon combined with a 4-cylinder engine with automatic transmission and 2-wheel drive. But here's a little secret. The V6 engine with automatic transmission and 2-wheel drive gets the exact same gas mileage. And the same thing goes for the 4-wheel drive models. Both the V6 and the 4-cylinder get an EPA estimated 20 miles per gallon combined. Toyota, how do you do it? Please, we really wanna know. Much like the Tacoma, the Ranger has a 5-foot bed or a 6-foot bed. Now the one downside is that it doesn't come with a standard bed liner. So you'll have to find one that has an option like the one that we have here. Other than that, the Ranger has a ton of advantages over the Tacoma. First, you can carry a maximum payload up to 1,860 pounds on some models. And this one is capable of 1,650, which is quite impressive. What's even better is every Ranger trim has a maximum tow rating of 7,500 pounds. That is a lot for a gas-powered truck this size, and it easily outpaces the Tacoma. A 2-wheel drive Ranger gets an EPA rated 23 miles per gallon combined, while a 4-wheel drive gets 22 miles per gallon combined. And you guys, those are some great numbers for trucks in this class. Combined with a capable payload and towing features, that definitely gives the Ranger some redemption. This is a showdown between two leading midsize trucks, and for a lot of people, it's still a toss-up. But what about you? Are you drawn to the smooth and adventurous Tacoma or the ambitious Ranger, even though it is a little rougher on the edges? For the majority of buyers, we think that the Tacoma is a great fit. But if you need higher tow ratings and better fuel economy, the Ranger makes sense. Otherwise, start your list with the Tacoma, and it'll probably end there too. Go down to the comment section and let us know if you're Team Tacoma or Team Ranger. And of course, please like and subscribe to see more CarMax videos. And if you're somebody who still can't make a decision, click the link down below for an in-depth article about both of the trucks. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.